what cracked me up is more and more folks are talking about Ron DeSantis's lifts. It is something that he's been asked about now. It is something that I'm not sure if you saw this, but Political actually did an article on an analysis, and they talked to shoemakers. And I think that if not a consensus, at least one or two of the shoemakers said, yeah, he's lifting. What do you think of our potentially height challenged governor of Florida?
A lot of guys have this insecurity, even though 5'11", a lot of guys, I'm not saying you, but a lot of guys might kill to be 5'11", right, John? Um, but here's the problem is what's the word I want to use? The inauthentic way that they present themselves. Here's what I mean. Donald Trump, have you tell it, is Rambo, right? That he was on the battlefield and he was leading armies and he was the most. He says he's one of the greatest athletes that's ever lived, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The fact is, this guy spray tans himself, and again, not to shame people who spray tan themselves, but the fact is Donald Trump is a snowflake and he likes to portray himself as an alpha male. This is the same thing here with Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is insecure about his height. And Donald Trump is famously, I think, pretty tall, right? He's like 6'3", 6'4", right? And so Ron DeSantis is pretty insecure about his height. And so he's wearing lifts. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't particularly care what he wears on his feet. If he wants to wear lifts, I don't care if he wears 6-foot platforms or he's on stilts and debating. I don't particularly care about that. But he thinks that it hurts him with his base because it probably does, because they probably see that as a feminine thing. And Lord knows that you can't be feminine if you're a man in that world, right? So that's what really bothers me about this is the portrayal of being an alpha male. And he'll walk up to Anthony Fauci and say, you're fired. And I'm a tough guy and I like to bully little kids to take off their mask on stage. And yet the most insecure, snowflakey people inside behind closed doors. Ron DeSantis is wearing heels. He's denying it. And I bet you, John, that he'll stop. And the reason I think he'll stop is because everybody's just watching him walk now. Nobody cares about what he's saying, where he's campaigning, what his policies are. They're just watching him walk. It also is very funny to see Don Jr. And John, I'm not comparing him to AJ Brzezinski. I'm comparing him to AJ Brzezinski in the sense that when Don Jr. is on your team, you love him because he does a lot of the dirty work that you want him to do. But when he's not on your team, you hate him. When he was on Fox News making fun of DeSantis, his walk, and how he had a whole like Zapruder film worth of like showing him walk across the stage, et cetera, et cetera. I love seeing that Republicans eat each other alive. But yeah, that's my problem with this one is the insecurity that you think you're an alpha male and yet you have to do this because you're so ashamed of your height.
You know, Ron DeSantis could put it into this. He could just walk out barefoot one time and let's see how tall he is.
Yeah. And Donald Trump
is
can walk on a scale and we'll just see how much he weighs. It's the same concept.
right. It's but what's funny is it it, it just cracks me up that this has gotten so much play. It's gonna be the discussion. He's being asked about it, and it's something that could very easily go away. It could very very easily go away. It could be something that they stop talking about, stop spending any time on, and oh, it cracks me up. It literally cracks me up.